Hello and welcome to my ninth video on my tutorial course for AEM Designer. Today we're going to be covering form fragments. So this is a good follow-up from our last video on custom objects. Form fragments are a bit of a step above from custom objects. So these will allow you to uh, create a lot for commonly used sections of your form. You can save them and make them into form fragments, and then from there access them and then place them into multiple forms. But additionally, you have the functionality with form fragments, not with custom objects, to update these form fragments from one central location, and then every single location, every single form where you've referenced that form fragment will also change accordingly. So let's see this in action. So right here, I'm clicking on this object. It's called personal info. Now notice, you'll immediately notice that it is outlined in purple. So what this means is this is in effect a form fragment. So additionally on the left-hand side, every single object in this form fragment is grayed out. Now this particular form fragment is essentially just a table. So we have a header, and then we have some rows for our table. So we got our name, address, city, state, zip, phone/fax, email. Now everything is grayed out. As it stands, I cannot edit this form fragment because the way we edit form fragments is we don't edit the form fragments from within the form itself. We have to edit the fragment itself. So in order to edit this form fragment, we would right click, go into fragments, and then we'll edit our fragment. So this will open up the file location of our form fragment, and I'll show you how to make them in just a minute. But once we're in our form fragment, we can make any edits that we desire. I'm not going to do this at the very moment, but that's how you would do that. Okay, so now we're back in our form. So let's see how we can utilize this, we can leverage this form fragment in action. Okay, so we have our form fragment. Let's make a couple of different forms that both utilize the same fragment. So let's put in a country drop-down list, let's say. And for the purposes, I'm going to make two separate forms, both of which have the same form fragment in them. And then we're going to see how we can update that form fragment to update both forms simultaneously. So that being said, we're going to insert we're going to go to fragments, we're going to insert our fragment, and then we're going to insert the fragment again. Okay, so this is the second form that I just made that utilizes this form fragment. And so to differentiate it, we're just going to put some other object. So we're just going to put in a reset button. Okay, so to recap, we have two forms. We have this form with the reset button and this form with the country drop-down. And as you can see, the personal information, it's got name, address, city, state, zip, phone, fax, email. When we change the fragment itself, this form, this first form, as well as this second form, both of these fragments will change. So how do we do that? We're going to reopen our fragment file, and then we're going to make the changes here. So we're going to change this into, let's say, company information. And then we can say, so we can just make various changes to it like this. Sure. Okay, so we've made some changes to our form fragment. So once we save it, so we've updated our form fragment, and then we're going to go into the other two forms. And as you can see right here, our form itself has changed, as well as this form has changed to reflect the changes that we made to the fragment itself. Essentially, when you're putting in a form fragment, you're putting in a pointer in your form you're pointing to the fragment. So you're referring to the fragment itself. So whenever you change that fragment, all the pointers are going to update to reflect that. And as you can see, this is very useful if you have to update a lot of forms after the fact. If you have a lot of forms where you have like information on a particular head of the company, and so if somebody leaves the company, you have to change all that information, you have to refactor it. then you can have that be a form fragment, and then one update to the form fragment, all those forms will update to reflect that accordingly. Doesn't matter if it's one form or 100 forms, they will all change, and it will make your life a lot easier to leverage this functionality. So yeah, that's about it for that. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time when we're going to get into accessibility with respect to AEM Designer. Till then, take care.